Today we are going over the pros and the cons of the carnivore diet. Let's get into it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mana. I'm an online jump rope coach and I recently got into the carnivore diet, animal-based diet, about 5 months ago. So if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video right now. This channel is pretty much going to be like 50% carnivore diet content and 50% jump rope fitness lifestyle. So make sure you subscribe. All right, I thought this was an important video to make because everyone hears all this amazing stuff about the carnivore diet, which is true, but there are a couple cons that I think need to be recognized as well. So today we're going to go over the pros, we're going to go over the cons. I will say right now, I listed 18 pros and 3 cons. So I am not going to go into deep detail with the pros. I'm essentially just going to list them. But if you check out my last video, I'll put the link in the description. I did go over my personal top 10 benefits of the carnivore diet. All right, before we start listing the pros, if there are a few of you that are like, okay, I don't even really know what the carnivore diet is. Basically, it is an animal-based diet where you are eating meat, eggs, dairy, fruit, and honey. So a true carnivore diet is no fruit and no honey. A true carnivore diet is 0 carbs, but there is just like an animal-based diet where people have been fine adding in fruit and honey as well. So it ranges from those 3 to 5 things. So no vegetables, no grains, no nuts, no seeds, no starches, basically none of that. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm breaking out like a little bit. And this is the first time I've broken out in like over 2 months. I feel like I woke up this morning and had like a couple pimples and I was like, ow, I forgot what that felt like. And it's crazy because that used to be normal for me, like having my whole face covered in pimples, but I don't know. I did eat 2 different things the last couple days, but they weren't off the diet. I was traveling and I was out of town, so I got some lunch meat and cheese wraps. The lunch meat, you have to be very careful because a lot of them put sugar, nitrates, and sulfates, but this meat that I got was from the Maple Leaf Natural brand, and it was only 5 ingredients, but it did have like vinegar, potato starch, and cultured sugar. So I don't know if I'm reacting to something in there, but yeah, it's crazy. Once you start sticking to the diet, you become very sensitive to anything. But yeah, we'll get into that because that is one of the cons. So first of all, I'm gonna list all of the pros quickly, and then we'll kind of dive a bit deeper into the other side of it. All right, this light was way too bright, so hopefully this is a bit better. Okay, let's get into the pros. I got 18 of them. Like I said, check out my last video because I go into much more detail in there. Number 1, no bloating. Number 2, no inflammation. Number 3, better skin. I've struggled with cystic acne for years now, and rosacea, itchy skin, all of it, and this is the only thing that has ever helped me. Number 4 is your appetite gets suppressed by, I would say, like at least 60%, 60 to 70%. You are not as hungry throughout the day, you're not craving things, and it just makes it a lot more easier to kind of go about your life. Number 5 is no more constipation, which is life-changing. Number 6 is no more gas, when those kind of go hand in hand. Number 7, no more dandruff. I used to have a super itchy scalp, a ton of dandruff, like white flakes everywhere, and I do not have that anymore. Number 7 is no cravings, because now you're satiated and you're eating super nutrient-rich and dense food. You're not having cravings for all these other things that are not good for you. Number 9 is better sleep. Now I do not wake up throughout the night. I fall asleep easier, I stay asleep easier, and I wake up feeling much better in the morning too. Leading me into number 10, which is more energy, and not just more energy, but stable energy. Before starting this diet, my energy would be like this. Peak, crash. Like I could not keep up with it, especially after meals. I was feeling terrible. That was one of the biggest things I've noticed since starting this diet. Your energy is just stable throughout the whole day. Like you feel the same in the morning as you do in the afternoon and throughout the night, and that just makes life so much easier. Number 11, which is very shocking to a lot of people, is you save money. I used to spend so much money ordering food, getting takeout, fast food, going out to restaurants. For some reason, everyone thinks, oh my God, you're eating like steak and burgers every day. That must be so expensive. The reality is I only really have steak maybe like once, maximum twice a week. Most of the time I'm just eating ground beef, which is actually fairly cheap. and you're eating so much less compared to what you were having before that you're ending up saving money. Like my grocery trips are way less expensive. You're not ordering out anymore. You're not going out to restaurants. You're making everything at home. I'm telling you, I have started saving so much money since starting this diet. Leading me into number 12, grocery shopping is way easier. Like I just go in and out of the store, I'm done in no time. You're only grabbing like 3 to 5 different things. So you're spending way less time in the grocery store. You're not like wandering through the aisles like, oh, do I go on this, want this? Like, no, you can only eat so many things. So you know exactly what you're getting every time that you go in the store. Pro number 13, you spend way less time cooking and cleaning. Again, you're only eating so much. You're not using a ton of different like dishes or pans, things like that. Like usually I use the same pan the whole day to cook like my eggs and my burgers, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna wash some fruit here and there. So yeah, you're not wasting all this time. Like I used to spend hours meal prepping, making my asparagus, my sweet potatoes, my chicken, like my rice, my overnight oats. Oh my God. When I think back to that, I used to spend so much time meal prepping. Now I go in the kitchen, make some eggs, make some burgers. I usually make enough burgers so I have some left over. So you're spending way less time cooking, which means you're spending way less time cleaning. Number 14, your mood is way better. This majorly helps with depression and anxiety, and I would say anxiety more than anything. I've always struggled with both. I still struggle with my depression here and there, although it is significantly better, but the anxiety, I swear, wiped away so quickly. I cannot believe it. And I actually notice that now too. When I go off the diet and when I cheat, I'm like super irritable, super moody, super anxious, and it blows my mind every time. But also, if you even think about it with like kids that are on like a super high sugar, high carb diet, most of them are out of control. So if it's happening to kids, why would it not be happening to us too? We know for a fact that those foods affect us like crazy. Number 15, you have way more mental clarity and less brain fog. This is kind of related to the anxiety point as well, but this was something I really started to notice, especially during my workouts. For some reason, it was more significant there. I would be in the gym and I would just catch myself and I would be like, whoa, I feel so dialed in right now, so present. I'm so focused. My mind isn't all over the place and I don't feel like I have that brain fog, which I used to struggle with all the time, especially after big meals, like super high carb meals and stuff like that. You just feel like you just feel like you're not fully connected to your brain, and that is such a terrible feeling to have. So that's been a huge benefit of this diet as well. Number 16, which I just kind of mentioned, is you have no post-meal or like post-carb crash. So most of the time when I would eat before, I would need to sit for like at least 30 minutes and then I would continue on with my day. That is so terrible and just not a way to live. Now, like, I eat my meals and I'm fine. I feel the exact same. Just like I said with the energy levels, everything's stable. You're not having like a peak or like a crash after a meal. You feel totally normal all the way throughout the day. So that's a really nice thing too, is knowing that like you can sit down, eat a meal, feel good about it, not feel bloated, not feel like you're having a crash, and then just move on with your day. Number 17 is fat loss. And I will say I haven't lost a ton of weight since starting the diet. I did start the diet when I was around 165 pounds, and now I'm around like 153, 154. But I should have took my measurements because I definitely went down like a couple of pant sizes for sure. And most of it is bloating, honestly. Like the inflammation and bloating disappeared within like the first couple of weeks of the diet. So I noticed that a lot more than like the number on the scale changing. But my main goal with this diet isn't to lose weight anyways. Like I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now with my physique, but I have seen so many other stories with people losing like 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds. So it's definitely a great way to kind of target fat loss if that's a goal of yours. Number 18, which I thought is actually a very interesting one, is no more BO or bad breath. And I wouldn't say like before this was a huge thing for me, but in general it's kind of an issue for everybody. And like I don't ever wear deodorant now. I don't need to. I noticed that like I don't have like that gross taste in my mouth like as much in the morning or at night or anything like that. And in general, a lot of times like our body is obviously just sweating out these toxins. So the worse your diet is, usually the worse your BO will be, and that's a huge thing that I've noticed as well. Okay, so those are the pros. Those are 18 pros. And honestly, that took me like 10 minutes to write all of those down. I am sure I am missing a ton of them, but those are the main things that came to my mind. Now let's get into the cons of the carnivore diet. All right, the cons of the carnivore diet. So I have 3 main ones that I would like to talk about. And number 1 is you can't really go out to eat. This is probably like one of the main questions I get. They're like, oh, like how do you go out to eat? Like what do you do at restaurants? Like do you ever order food? Blah, blah, blah. The simple answer for me personally is I just don't anymore. And I would just like to say, I am not telling you if you do this diet, you can't go out to eat anymore. That's definitely not what I'm saying. It's different for everybody. And it really just depends where you live too. There are a lot of places that will accommodate. Like you can go to a steakhouse and say, hey, I have super severe allergies to like sugar, seed oils, and spices. Is there any way you can make my steak in butter and only put salt on it? There's a lot of places that will do that. It's honestly just a lot more work, so I haven't really had the energy to even try. And I just feel more comfortable making my food at home and knowing that I know exactly what is in there. And I will say I have tried going out to eat once since doing the diet. This was back in August, I believe. And so I was just I was like maybe less than 2 months into the diet. I was just starting to get more strict with it. And I ordered from a steakhouse and I just got like a 16-ounce ribeye. I didn't really think too much about it. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't ask them about spices, what they marinated in, whatever. So I got the steak, I ate it, it was amazing. Within 20 minutes, I got so sick. And this was one of the worst experiences I have ever had. I was throwing up with the worst migraine ever. I was in bed. I could not move unless it was to somehow get up to go to the toilet to throw up. And I was basically just like not there for the next 48 hours. It was awful. For those of you that don't know, I actually have a severe allergy to sugar, which is super rare. So even before this diet, I've been sugar-free for almost 2 years now. After I got Lyme disease, I developed an allergy to cane sugar, molasses, maple syrup, basically anything sweet besides honey. So I'm gonna assume that they had some sort of sugar, red wine, or something like that in the marinade of the steak, which is why I got so sick. Because anytime I eat sugar, I have the same reaction. I get like a debilitating migraine and I will throw up multiple times until it's basically out of my system. So that's the last experience I had eating out. So you can imagine how I feel now. I was just traumatized by that and I haven't went to eat out since. I'm just more comfortable making my food at home and knowing that I'm safe that way. But yeah, I really wanted to touch on that point because, you know, the carnivore diet is amazing and there are so many benefits, but we need to be real about it. There's a lot of really hard lifestyle adjustments to make, and I don't think we need to sugarcoat that. The going out to eat thing is really hard because like if your friends invite you out or if you're going for someone's birthday, it's tough for sure. And I will say there are a lot of people that will just cheat on like occasions and things like that, which I personally think is not a big deal at all. I have cheated multiple times in the last 5 months, sometimes worth it, most times or not. So this whole process is kind of you getting to know your body and know when you can afford to do things like that. But in general, it's definitely a bit more difficult if you're sticking to the diet to go out to eat to restaurants. Con number 2, you can never go back to the way you were eating before. This is so real, and it's something that's hard to explain unless you try the carnivore diet. Even if you've tried it, I've talked to people that have tried it for 2 or 3 weeks, completely fell off, and I've had conversations with them, and they're like, I can't stop thinking about it. Like, ever since I've experienced that, it's just so hard to keep doing what I'm doing, and it's so true. I actually, like 2 months ago, was seriously in the mindset where I was like, I don't want to do this diet anymore. I was like, you know what? I really miss being able to eat whatever I want. And I was like, you know what? You know, was the acne that bad? Like, it's crazy. I was like justifying all these issues. I was like, maybe I won't feel that bad. So I actually started to kind of eat all the stuff that I shouldn't be eating. And that only lasted for a few days because I felt terrible again. So yeah, once you start carnivore, you can kind of never go back. And really the main reason is because beforehand, you were used to being bloated, you were used to being constipated, you were used to having gas, you were used to feeling tired, you were used to all these things that aren't normal, but they were normal to you because it was all that your body knew. And then you transition into this diet, you're not bloated, you're not constipated, you're sleeping better, your acne's clearing up, you have more energy, you're not as depressed, you're not as anxious, like all those pros I listed, you experience that. How are you ever gonna go back? How are you ever gonna go back? It's so hard. So when I think about this long term, now I'm accepting that most likely I'm gonna be on an animal-based diet for the rest of my life. Am I still gonna try and incorporate some foods in here and there 100%? But I'm in it. I'm in it for the long haul now. Once you get a taste of just feeling better in your mind and your body and feeling healthier, it's way too hard to ever go back to how you were eating before. Okay, my last point today, con number 3, is that traveling is much harder on this diet. It's kind of related to the first point about going out to eat. Traveling is very, very tough because you have to be kind of fully prepared. So I'll give you guys an example. I was gone out of town for the last 2 days, and this is pretty much exactly what I did. So in the morning, I prepped Greek yogurt with berries and honey. I scrambled like 6 eggs, so I had all those in a container ready to go. Had that for breakfast, and then I brought some extra like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, a couple oranges, like 2 bricks of cheese, and a bunch of lunch meat. So I was fine throughout the whole day. And I remember yesterday morning, because I was kind of rushing, I was like, man, I don't know if I have time to like prep this stuff right now. Like maybe I'll just figure it out later. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because we all know figuring it out later would have meant that I'm just gonna end up cheating and probably getting fast food and regretting everything. So yes, traveling is hard. You can meal prep to a certain extent, and then wherever you're going, there's always some options. You can always find some type of meat, cheese, eggs. Even if you go to like a restaurant, like I said, just try and ask them if they can somehow prepare the meat without vegetable oils or spices. Yes, I know it's annoying. It is a little bit of extra work, but you're doing it. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for yourself. You're trying to avoid getting sick. You're trying to avoid feeling like crap. So in those moments when it feels hard and it feels annoying, and trust me, I'm talking to myself right now, when it feels that way, just come back to your why and come back to your reasons. Why am I even doing this in the first place? And it just makes it a lot easier. All right, I don't even know how long I was talking for, so I don't even know how long this video is, but those are gonna be my pros and cons of the carnivore diet. Of course, to me, the pros definitely outweigh the cons for sure. There are just way too many pros of this diet. You just feel so good, and it makes it easy to kind of make those adjustments in your life because you end up just feeling so much better. So it is worth it. I hope that gave you guys a good insight as to what the diet kind of looks like and what are some of the struggles that come along with the benefits as well. Make sure you guys already have hit that subscribe button because there is a lot more carnivore content coming your way. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. It means the absolute world to me as I'm trying to grow this channel. And you can also check me out on TikTok and Instagram at MUNASKIPS. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching today. Drop any questions you have in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.